So, Shailene,
Talk to me.
Tell me what Divergent is about.
Okay, Divergent is about a lot of things. Specifically, it takes place in the future, and it's a society that's divided into 5 different factions that all honor a specific virtue, a different virtue, and it follows the trails of one young woman who makes a decision to switch factions, and it deals with the consequences of the choice that she makes.
And I think, obviously there's a part of this movie that's just a fun, entertaining, sort of epic adventure, but people have seemed to be able to draw a lot of current parallels and themes and stuff. Was that relevant? Did you notice that and pick up on that from reading the book and when you were making it, when you saw it?
Absolutely. I think one of the main reasons, or not one of the main reasons, but a big reason that I wanted to do this movie is I sort of saw it as this beautiful platform. In the title alone, it talks diverging, right? So diverging from the mainstream, diverging from mediocrity, diverging from sort of what is socially accepted, and finding your passion and finding what you want to dedicate your life to, regardless of what mainstream or society says, can be a little bit dangerous, and it can be a big risk, and you have to be really brave in order to do that, and you also have to have a lot of confidence, which stems from self-love. And once you establish a sense of self-love, you really are able to be in service of others more, which allows you to be more selfless, which really is who my character Tris ends up to be at the end. She doesn't abide, and she doesn't conform to society's rules and regulations, and therefore is considered dangerous, because she diverges from the mainstream.
And it's interesting because I hadn't thought about it, but you just mentioned something that just struck with me, which is sort of, she comes from the selfless faction, and in some ways, in the beginning of the movie, you see her, it's not her nature.
Yeah.
She has to be told by her brother, help her pick up the groceries and whatnot. And yet, ultimately, at least by the end of the first movie, she's someone who is pretty selfless.
Yeah, pretty selfless. I mean, I think in order to be brave, you have to be selfless. And like I said, in order to be selfless, you have to have a sense of self-love, which comes with which bravery and courage gives you. It takes a lot of courage to wake up in the morning and to live your life for you, because we sort of live in a society, and Tris lives in a society where fear is sort of bred into us as little kids. We learn to wake up in the morning fearful instead of celebrating the wholeness that is life. So self-love stems from bravery, and and bravery stems from selflessness.
Tell me a little bit about working with Ashley Judd, because I have to say, when I watched this, the two of you, there are shades of seeing her early on in Ruby in Paradise and some of the things she did, and I think she made a great mom for you. What was it like working with her?
It was amazing to connect with Ashley on this movie. First off, we're both kindred spirits, so we, on a personal level, I would do anything for her. I feel very, very connected to her, and she is such a lovely soul and a lovely spirit, and she's also an incredibly empowered, strong woman. She also really loves acting, and she's really good at what she does, and she's good at bringing truth to sort of larger-than-life situations. And because Tris and her mother's character do go through a really insane transformation in this movie, Tris finds out that her mother is dauntless, just loses her mom, and in the beginning of the movie leaves her mom. It really helped, I think, for our characters that Ashley and I saw each other's souls in one another before, as individuals, before jumping into this movie as actors.
And also, obviously, the relationship between Tris and Four is really at the heart of this movie, in addition to her personal journey. What was it like working with Theo and going down this whole journey with him?
It was amazing. I mean, the wonderful thing about Theo is that he's in his late 20s, he majored in philosophy at university, he's traveled the world, and then he decided to become an actor. So he had a whole life before this, and I think he recognizes and he knows and he respects the fact that it could all be taken away at any moment. And he celebrates his success, and he's grateful for his success, but he doesn't think that his, burps don't stink. He's very grounded, and he's very, I guess grateful just keeps coming to mind. He's just a classy dude, and he's also an incredible actor, and he's very intelligent. So when we first met each other, I think we both bonded over the fact that we saw each other's truths, and we recognized them, and we respected them immediately. And then from there, we sort of stemmed out and became friends.
you've obviously been working for a long time and acting for a long time, but when you go into a movie that is potentially a franchise and it's going to have sequels, and you're sort of the heroine and the lead and number one on a call sheet, did you feel the pressure from both the production, and did you feel pressure, or did you have to do anything different than you'd been doing before?
You know, when I worked on a movie called The Descendants, I worked with George Clooney and our director is Alexander Payne, and they both said this to me separately, which I thought was very funny. But they go, I remember George was like, you know, whoever the director is and whoever's number one on the call sheet has a major responsibility in the making of a film. Those are the two people who arrive on set every day and determine what the vibe is going to be for the entire shoot. If those two people show up grumpy and tired and out of whack, then that's going to set the tone, and it's going to ripple down, and everyone in the crew is going to feel the same way. But if those two people show up ready to go with energy and excitement and gratitude and spunk, that's going to ripple out. And so it was neat, you know, for him to say that. And he goes, and one day, Shay, you might be in a position where you will be number one on the call sheet. And that's the responsibility that you'll have to bring to a set. And on this movie, I definitely felt that way. You know, I could definitely see that if I showed up and I was fully being me and expressing myself in a happy way or expressing myself in a positive manner, I think it definitely influenced those around me, as well as Neil, when Neil came to set. So it is a responsibility, and it's a lovely responsibility to have. And, you know, kind of what a gift to be able to show up and be yourself, and then see how that affects other people.
And talk about working with Veronica. I mean, there is something I would imagine sort of great about having the author there as a resource if you want to get into some specifics, but it's also maybe a little daunting in the fact that you have this woman who's created this character in this world, and you are sort of tasked with sort of taking that on.
The neat thing about having Veronica there was that, you know, I asked her a lot of questions and inquired about where she got her inspiration from to write this book at 21 years old, and how she came up with these characters and whatnot. But I really reserved the questions about Tris, the questions about the story, or any specific character questions to Neil Berger, our director, because as much as Veronica did create this world, she created the book world, and Neil created the film world. And so I felt like, out of respect, and also, you know, this was his journey. She had her journey, and this was his journey. And so I felt like any questions I had about development needed to go towards him, to him.
Awesome. I'm out of time.